Hey, good evening, good afternoon. Uh, Good evening, afternoon for those that are just getting up. I got my man here, Rel, and we're gonna talk about a post I put up on Facebook, and we want to know. Hopefully, we get some comments, but I'm gonna screen share this for Rel so he see the post and the post pops up. Hold on. That's the post I put up yesterday. It says for black men. For women that this applies to, like and say I love black men. We got the original. That's the original, and then it's a comment here. But
Yeah.
what I wanted to address the rail was where where is the comments, rail? Where's it's
Um.
it's three comments. We got Derek Cox, my man Gordon. He commented and put the Janet Christmas, Holly Catching, and Hadia Cheatham. They all commented, and we got 10, 11 reactions. Usually, Rel, whenever it's a post about men,
Mhm.
and the post or the emoji or the meme may not seem favorable to how black men are treating black women, whether it's by something they say or something they do, or interracial dating.
Mhm.
If it's posted on Facebook, we always get a bunch of comments. Everybody got something to say. So when I posted this, I expected more participation in the post.
Right.
Was my expectation wrong, or is it a double standard?
Of course, it's a double standard. From what I see, I mean, granted, this is all social media. The rage brings engagement, but it's not cool to be on here for a chick to be like, "I love black men." It's just not. you know. So, and shit. That's the reason why I make a lot of posts that I do, because the only real reaction you get out of them is, you know, towards the opposite side, questioning things that's wrong, you know, that might be seen as right by a certain community. But no, it's just not seen as cool on social media to just be like, I love black men. You know what they call that? They call that a pick me. So they would call each and every one of these women and that comment a pick me.
So
And
you, so
her-
why you think the comments was scarce and the reactions was scarce?
like that's just how it is. The same pick me stuff. Like you're not. It's almost like you're not allowed to. You're really not allowed to praise men. I could say yeah. You're really not allowed to praise men, not like that. Um, and you're definitely not allowed to say anything negative or seen as negative about women. So when you see those posts, like the people that are fairly genuine and don't care about what's going on with social media and trends and all that stuff, they'll hop in and say, "Yeah, what's up?" And I bet you probably those commenters, probably got some decent relationships out here. I'm willing to bet.
So let me ask you, if it would have been a celebrity that posted it on Instagram
Hmm.
and you
Oh
know
no,
they
no,
would have jumped all on that, or same thing.
oh nah, it's the same reaction. Like you get a lesson reaction. So and it's crazy. It's crazy that you say that because a celebrity would got the same reaction. Like it's crazy. I told Shakira and them before, like, yo, y'all bullies online. All y'all want to do is beat people up, and like that's just the trend. So
Now look, you don't mention
yeah,
my code. You don't mention her by name, brother.
yeah.
You know, I gotta text her the link. Gotta give her a chance to defend herself. I
Oh
ain't,
yeah, but
look, I ain't trying to start trouble, Rel, but you mentioned her by name, so I
yeah,
want
yeah,
you
yeah.
to know she gonna come.
Well, Shakira and Keisha, tell them
Oh,
come.
you saying both of them?
Oh yeah, nah. I said they. What I'm saying? They. I told. Remember we had that conversation, They like, why dudes all sassy online? Like, yo, y'all be jumping people. So like this is this is part of the culture. It's just not cool to be like, all right, cool. Men are beautiful, blah blah blah, this and that. It might be seen as too mushy because I think everybody wants to be seen as tough or hardened, but then at the same time they go home and lay up with whoever, which is often the case. But online, nah, no, no, we ain't saying that. You know.
Well, you know, they coming, brother. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, we at war right now. So tell them come.
Who you at war with them?
Yeah, well no, not with them. But the
Uh,
other one.
which one you at war with, brother?
I said the other one.
And yeah, because I put the post up, and like I said, I want to know like why doesn't this post get as much energy? And I put it, we always put a bunch of posts up, and it's always crazy how certain posts get so much energy over other posts.
But you know what? To be fair, you should post that up and see your reaction, you know what I'm saying, with men. But I will say one thing. If I don't know, maybe this is my dirty mind. It had like a sexual connotation to it. So
Also,
maybe don't they might have took it as sipping some, you know, but that's a possibility.
you think so?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I said, but even so.
Well, I'm just gonna let you know. I sent the link to
Mhm,
Keisha and Shakita. They more than welcome to come on. I don't think they be
mhm.
jumping people. I know a lot of people say that the page sometimes be men bashing, and I won't say I agree with that. I mean, if anybody feel like they're bashing men
Mhm.
or somebody post something that's bashing women, I mean, I'm more than open to looking into it. I'm more than definitely because really that's not like my thing. That's something that I really, on a personal note, I don't like that we always talk about like the men doing this and ain't doing this, or the women doing this and ain't doing that. I just thought on yesterday's post, like I
Right.
said when I posted it, it was ironic that it didn't get a reaction because had it put like a male saying I love black women or something, it probably
I'll
would have got more of a reaction.
I'll say this. As far as like social media and reactions, gender by gender, um, shit. Even with like the gays and trans, like you can't when you come to like sensitive classes, and sometimes we get this even black on white. It could be the smallest thing that you say, but because these people feel like they've been, I don't know. Well, sometimes it's just their interpersonal insecurity. But a lot of things they consider bashing is just sometimes an opinion. It's not like, nah, F that big, or it's not. I've never seen nothing with FBs on Let's Talk. So you know what I'm saying. So in order
Yeah,
to say, like I don't even think you would let that. But a lot of chicks think that any type of opinion that's not seen as super positive is like some uh it's just bashing. Everything is not bashing. People are allowed to have their opinions. People are allowed to have their say. And I think Let's Talk is for that. So we really can't harp on bashing anything because unless you see F all these such
yeah.
and such, that ain't that ain't it. You know what I'm saying?
I think for the most part, everybody got real strong opinions, and I mean, I kind of invite the opinions
They
myself.
should.
I love it. I love good constructive discourse, so
Right.
to say. But it's like at a certain point, like 100, 200 comments, and me and you per se going back and forth. Like if it's 20 people going back and forth, everybody got their points. That's different.
Right.
I mean, but like I
But
said, I was shocked with the lack of. Like I said, I ain't trying to. I have to be a equal opportunity provocateur, so to say, and I'm
right.
shocked that it wasn't more participation in that particular meme, because meme trigger us for some reason. You could put a meme up and it'll trigger people in all different types of ways.
Because it's usually half true. Like it wouldn't get a response if it wasn't. If it was just outrageously false, then nobody would respond to it at all. But sometimes it's the half truth, and it hit people in that perfect spot. Or sometimes it don't hit your spot. It just calls you to just like, okay, well, what is this? Explain this, and then the feelings are erupt. But I mean, about the 200 back and forth, like I think sometimes people don't bother to look at themselves and what they arguing about and what they really talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Emotions start flaring up, and like I said, if you feel like you one of them insecure classes, sometimes like people can say whatever to you. Now you can rebuttal and say something back. But come on, let's think about it. Is it really bashing?
I put the I also just to let you know, I tagged you and I put the thing up with Boris and Nicole Parker.
Oh yeah.
And I know that you had wanted to address that with the double standard. I mean, what do you think? How do you think she made him feel in that video?
Yo, the thing is, right? Like, let's be real. We got Instagram and all this type of stuff in society now. Everybody's singing is single, they getting flown out. You know what I mean? Single life is much more glorious than what it really is. And I think people that's married forget that because I don't want to say stuck, but they're like, the situation is the same. It don't change daily. She wants excitement. Nobody is in charge of your excitement or your happiness. So for you to go back to single, that ain't nothing that Boris could fix. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you marry somebody, you're gonna be with them for a grip, and y'all fiscally invested. So y'all got money together. You can't be worrying about emotional things like, oh, he don't come by me and hug me, or he don't make me feel that way. Yo, your decision that you made is bigger than a lot of stuff that you're talking about. And
let me ask you, bro. You think that in that video, because it was on Instagram, you think it was generic, or you think it was like it couldn't have been made up? Because I did see his head reaction.
Yeah, he was
like, how do you think couples should handle that? Like, hopefully I'm gonna have a couple on the show soon, probably this weekend if things work out. I mean, they're fairly younger than myself. And they've been married for a minute. And I know sometimes we with social media, a lot of times couples will do shows together. Do you think that it should be like script? You don't want to make it scripted because people will see right through you when you're doing something scripted. But then if somebody says something, people can't control their natural reactions. Like,
yo, you could see where it was like a moment of, yo, really? But he was drinking his water, and then his boy is like, I still do that, Boris. I still do that. And this is grown. We talking about grown men talking about I still do that.
Shit. He did some sucker shit to him.
Right. And a lot of women
he started caping on Boris big time.
Right. And I think Boris was like, okay, because he knew, like, yo, come on, you tripping, man. It's not a man, it's not a man thing. Like, to be honest, that she shouldn't have been saying that. Like, she could have said that so many different ways, but as a man, like, I think females gotta understand, like, yo, that's really not important when you getting down to investing and being each other for a long time.
Yeah,
emotions gonna wane.
I know that because both of them actresses, I know I've seen a lot of magazines over the years with them talking about how they handle their marriage, like far as like kissing on camera and stuff like that. Like, they got a no tongue rule and all this stuff. And, I just thought it was odd when I seen it, because I seen it on your page. I'm looking at it, and then it's like his reaction was so honest. Like, hold up, he came at me sideways. Like, yo,
so
like, really? So
right,
she basically said, let me ask you, when a woman or from a man's perspective, I mean, when you're in a relationship and you tell somebody you want to live a single life, how do you think that comes off to people?
Yo, regardless of that verbatim, you do. That's not what you said. Like she could have said it so much more different, and she tried to kind of fix it, right, to make it not seem as crazy. And the other black dude host tried to give her a little up and out, but it really wasn't working. Like essentially, she wants to go back to having a text in the phone and doing whatever, and then feeling like Boris is the primary dude that she got. But like, hey, let's be real, man. That you going backwards. You going
Yeah,
back.
yeah, I thought it was quite odd. I mean, being in that type of situation before, if that's the way you feel. I mean, like you said, you create your own happiness. I mean, even one of the questions in the group yesterday, one of the
Mhm.
brothers put up was, "What happens when a relationship gets mundane?" I
Right.
mean, at the end of the day, if it's mundane, or you want to feel like y'all are dating again, you got to create that. You can't expect somebody else to create that because they may not feel that way. I think that a lot of times we be wanting our mates to be a certain way all
Hmm.
the time, and nobody's a certain way all the time. Some people are growing, some people are very content with where they at in relationships. So like
Hmm.
you expect somebody else to make you happy. I mean, it's kind of like setting yourself up for
Right.
disappointment. Goes all the way back to the meme. I
Hmm.
expected more participation. However, because
Hmm.
it didn't hit home with certain things. I mean, drama. Unfortunately, in our society, drama really sells. I mean,
Exactly. Yeah. You
you know,
gotta you gotta say something to rile them up, and then that's why a lot of people don't understand me. I can post something like that, and it's not gonna
yeah,
get a response. It's just not. It's too. I gotta do something crazy, and then y'all want to come and talk, and you know what I'm saying. But I see. So I just posted that, and Shakita, she posted. I guess Boris' response. So basically he's saying y'all can't. When you can't believe all the quarantine chit chat, and he's saying first of all, basically he's saying that she was right. Like like this happened the same thing with Steph and his wife, right? Um, he did the right thing. You can't kick her back in public, but in private when that door closed, listen, you know damn well you wasn't supposed to be saying no shit like that.
you think that when
Hmm.
like even uh, celebrities when they do this, like I said, when they do this stuff online, like in a
Hmm.
way that should always be like lock and step. I believe that if they go interview, they should interview like I don't know if you ever see Samuel L. and his wife interview or Denzel and his wife interview. Usually they don't do a lot of interviews together. Now I have
Right,
seen Samuel L. and Latanya interview, and he's always very complimentary of her, which is what he should do if that's how he feel. I mean,
right,
it should be organic. But when you start talking, and if you start complaining, or it appears that you're saying something that you're not happy about, it kind of like neuters your mate. And
right.
then, like you said, Boris had to come back and kind of like, she's right. But yeah, she is right, but it's how she may have handled it.
But actually, she isn't right. Like that's not good fundamentals. Just like you said, you know what I'm saying? They're using basically like that's publicity training. Boris know what to say. He know not to, you know what I'm saying, come out of line. It's just first of all, if he would have said anything other than what he said on Instagram, then the females would have wrecked him. But like reality is, at the end of the day, if we all want to get along and we all want to be in successful, you know what I'm saying, positions, we got to be in charge of our own happiness.
Hmm.
Maybe it's something. Maybe you need to go out and start playing balling or something. You need to keep yourself busy because it's really not that important. You know what
I
I'm
mean,
saying?
I think with the quarantine, I think everybody, or some people that have never been in this type of situation
Yeah,
before,
you're right. Yeah.
they automatically thought, oh, this is the perfect time for me and my mate to really get rekindle something, or get or or start from scratch, like.
Hmm.
But a lot of people just don't like being with their mate like that. A lot of people don't want to be. up under. Some people just don't want to be up under their mate. They love them and they want to spend their life with them, but at the end of the day, like, you want to go to work, you want to be amongst your friends, and home is home. And going out and making her feel special may have something totally different than being up under them all the time.
Right. But that's a bad situation. But going back to your post, it's the same thing. It was much easier for her to go in there and say something negative than go in there and be like, yo, he's great, he's blah blah blah, he's such and such. You know what I'm saying? And the engagement of no, it was negative. The engagement of negativity of what she said brought look where it brought it. We ain't seen this boy talked about in years. You know what I'm saying? Now he's viral off of that. I saw that I saw that post like 13 times yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Probably more than that. But like it's just the negative engagement gets more. And then also, like I said, they bullies online, man. The minute she said that, I'm guarantee you, you know what I'm saying, the reception was pretty much on his
So
ass.
you really think that a male
Uh-huh.
has no win with a female online?
No, we really don't. We really don't. Now, I mean, you got certain men who, they've grown up close to their mother, and mother's right automatically translates or converts to all women are right. Help her regardless. But I've been seeing so many situations where the female been wrong and men that have nothing to do with nothing got hurt. You know what I'm saying? Um, and online, you can't even mention stuff like that because what's the first thing a lot of chicks say out their mouth? Oh, you gay because you have a negative aspect out of woman or something, or first of all, they just won't. They either won't acknowledge you or you just become their enemy. But I mean, we're really not speaking about the actual facts of life. Men and women make mistakes, but online that's not the case.
You're gonna get a lot of
Yeah,
some pushback, Rel, for calling them women bullies, man.
yeah.
I'm not gonna say they not bullies. I'll just say
Thank
that
you.
a lot of women
Hmm.
in open space
Hmm.
have very strong opinions, and I think that sometimes those opinions aren't heard. Like unless you're around a woman that,
Hmm.
even if it's not your women, if you have
Right.
sisters, cousins, aunts that's real strong, and like
Hmm.
female friends that have strong opinions. So when we get online, it'll throw you off unless you're around these type of women, because
Yeah.
some men just aren't used to women talking like that. I mean, because sometimes women, like, you might have a woman online and she talk a certain way, but how she treats her man or her mate is totally different. And you like,
Yes.
she's a
Yeah.
beast online, but
Right.
she's soft and cuddly and mushy at home. So
But
I
this.
think
But
that's where the problem comes in.
right.
But then you got, I have to say, to be
Uh-huh.
objective,
Hmm.
then you got the women that'll be very soft and tender online, and then some people may take it the wrong way.
In terms of what, like, in terms of like, okay, I see what
Yeah,
you mean.
they might take
Yeah,
it the
yeah, yeah.
wrong way. Like, yo, no,
She
she
trying
just
to,
your
yeah,
friend. She just your friend, but she
right.
just, she's being sweet. She's I mean, women know what they do.
Yeah, but
They know how to handle themselves online. I just think that a lot
mhm,
of times online ain't for everybody. Even like typing, a person could type something and you be like,
yeah,
what do they mean by this? Or it be like
you
harsh,
miss
or it may come out the wrong way.
right. You misjudged, but like I said, I guarantee. No, I have seen studies where they said, what I'm saying, black women engage, basically like they run the internet, and I've said that before, and they actually started a lot of cultural trends, a lot of sayings, a lot of these memes. A lot of them do come from women. Um, and that's not a negative or positive thing because actually they can control the culture if they're careful and, what I'm saying, they do the right thing. But what I'm saying, like cancel culture and all that stuff, that don't come from white woman and all that. No, like cancel culture is expressly thing like from I want to say hip hop culture online because the older women don't really do that much. I'm talking about older over 50, but honestly, that cancel culture, that's the jumping, that's a jumping aspect. I'm not saying everybody's like that, but I am saying it's a good amount. And, that's like Drea. She'll come up here and she'll, the things that she says. And she says it herself. They will jump her ass, you know what I'm saying, verbally, verbally, and she already knows before she says it. Oh, here they come. But and it's unpopular opinion, but she's a very smart woman. She's very calculating in what she says, and she would never do it to explicitly hurt other women. But she's not allowed to have some of their opinions.
Somebody on Facebook said Me Too cancel culture is spearheaded by white women. Actually, Me Too was started by Tarana Burke, and
Right.
in the culture, the movement got hijacked. But Rel, we have a young lady that's come here to defend herself.
Okay.
You called her a bully, so I'm bringing her in.
All right.
You know how y'all two do when y'all get around each other.
First of all,
There
you
she
shouldn't be
go.
discussing me, period, because you're on here to discuss something else. Don't discuss me. Discuss
Okay.
your topic.
I'm always discuss you.
Why?
Why not?
Let me send you some invoices. You can discuss that, and I'll give you that cash app.
Invoice for what? Some damn
These
cupcakes?
bills. These bills. Mind your business.
All right,
Okay,
send them over.
we Rel now.
Yeah.
You had said that Shakita at first likes to bully and jump people. So I told you, I said, listen, let me finish. I said, now you don't brought her up. Now I have to send her the link. Now I sent her and Keisha the link because then you put Keisha involved in that. Shakita did not know what we were even discussing. Actually, Shakita, we were discussing. I had put up a meme, and it was a woman drinking a cup, and it said "black man." So I sent it to Rel, and I said, "Yo, why it didn't get a lot of traction, so to say?" And then Rel had the thing with Boris and Nicole Parker on his page, so we discussed two issues at the same time. Like, is it a double standard when it comes to what would we say, Rel? Online support for black men?
Yeah, but I mean, like, I kind of transformed it and said that, negativity is more engagement. So I already understand what it is. You know what I'm saying? Positivity, you're not going to get a 1,000 likes off of a positive post, but you're going to get super engagement off some negative. You know what I'm saying?
So let me ask you, Rel, since she's here, and I'm gonna let her go because she's gonna cut me off eventually because she's only here for one reason. Why did you bring up her name? And Keisha's in the queue, and Keisha said straight up, Keita, you better get him.
See, now that's the extraness. Before they even know what they talking about, is you better get him. That's the dog off the chain thing. It ain't even about that. We already had this conversation. They said, okay, well, dudes are sassy online. Why? And I've just replied to them. Y'all remember this conversation? I said, yo, y'all be jumping people online. And not to just say it's just y'all too. Like I said, a lot of women jump motherfuckers online. I really don't see that too much out of men. They'll leave you alone before they argue back and forth with you, especially if they don't know you. But y'all be jumping people.
all I'm gonna say. Now you don't realize, Rel. Let me just give you some backdrop. It took her a minute because I kept sending the link to her wrong, and she texted me back, and she's trying to understand why are you. I know that look, and all I can say is when she decides to go, she's gonna go. Shakita, the floor is yours.
Well, first of all,
we ain't gonna amp it up.
Wait, be quiet. First of all, I'm not here to address anything that anybody says about me because how anyone feels about me is none of my business. What I will say is, as far as negative engagements, I post things all the time, and anything I post is far from negative. I never post anything negative. I get tons of engagement. When I get tons of engagement, tons. I barely even post on my own personal page unless I'm posting a link to some information or something. I don't post. I don't go back and forth with people online. He can't possibly be talking about me. This is why I don't feel the need to defend any of that. When I post anything on the group page, it's always something deliberately to make people engage, and it's never anything negative, ever. I posted the other day about music. I had 100 and some odd comments. So, people don't want to engage in you. They don't want to engage in you personally, possibly. That particular post that you posted with the drinking and the water and the wine, I didn't even understand that. I couldn't, I didn't get what it meant. So I couldn't even engage. I didn't know what it meant. The couple, I can't think of the man and the woman. Boris and Nicole. The only thing I can go by is his statement that he personally made himself. He made a statement and said, me and my wife and this other couple had an hour-long conversation. The snippet that was taken from that particular conversation was just completely taken out of context. So, and then he explained it all. He said, me and my wife are fine. The clip was taken out of context. And he said, I'm going to go about my business and mind my business with my wife, my loving wife. So who am I to then turn around and tell this man that he's lying and that there's some kind of issues in their relationship? I'm not going to have a phantom conversation or make up something. Now, if she really legitimately said something against their relationship or some way or another, and people wanted to engage and have a conversation around it, I'm here for that. But once the man said that what she said was taken out of context and he has no issues with his wife, and if they listened to the rest of the interview, they would have understood. Why am I now still going to have this phantom conversation about that particular topic? And I reposted his response before I even really knew what she said. So then I went back and I just posted it because I liked the support that he had for his wife.
Right. This is the same stuff that I said. Yeah.
I don't know what you said. I didn't see what you said. I don't pay attention to what you said. So anyway,
okay, cool.
I posted his response because I just liked the support that he had for his wife and his relationship. When I went back and listened to the snippet of whatever that she was supposedly had said, I didn't get what the big deal was anyway. But I mean, I don't know what and it's the double standards and being I don't even understand how people get so emotional behind a Facebook post unless I personally attacked you. Unless I personally attacked you or said something to you, for you to overlook anything that I'm saying in a comment and you want to have more conversation around my tone or how you think I'm saying something to you, and I'm typing these words, you have no clue.
Somebody said something to you?
I'm talking about you calling me saying that I'm a bully and I'm bullying men online. I don't even have personal conversations with any of them.
It's really not that. It's not that deep. We had that conversation.
No, it's not about it being deep. It's not about it being deep. I'm literally addressing something you said. So it being deep or not
the context
deep,
is wrong.
Low, it doesn't matter. Then say the context is wrong. It's not about it not being deep. I am responding to something he said to me.
Okay.
So I'm saying I have no personal conversations barely with anybody online, and nor can I cater to anybody's feelings, particularly not a man that I'm not involved with on no level. I don't know him. So the last thing I'm thinking about is, did I hurt somebody's feelings? Who has time for that? I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
You taking it out of context. It ain't like I called you something, but
I'm only responding to him. You want to explain yourself.
We had that conversation. We had that conversation, and basically, it was a jokey joke, and y'all asked the question, and I answered the question.
Go ahead. The reason why I brought it up is, I am a provocateur, but when you brought it up, I felt it was my obligation to let her know, because she is a co-host as well as she does run the page. So I had to bring it up because this is the second time in less than a week that somebody brought up an accusation on her. And the first time, and even though I don't know the context of how you were saying it when you said they jump people online, I know that the one last week kind of not only offended her, but it offended myself as well, because it was like that came out of like left field.
Yeah, what happened last week?
The same type of accusation. You know.
Child, I was
But
minding my
so
business. I was minding my business. I didn't know what these people was talking about,
it
and
was
all of
to
a sudden,
Shakita.
he asked them a question. They were accusing me of censoring them and deleting things that they were saying and being mean and nasty to them. And he was like, "Wait, who?" And they added me. So I was like, "What are you talking about?" So when I asked for details or I was asking them what they were talking about, they wouldn't really say. And then, somebody in particular, somebody was like, "Well, other people might not say nothing, but I want to say something." And I was just like, "Okay." So if you say I did something to you, I'm going to ask you, even though it makes absolutely no sense. So I asked, they couldn't tell me. Come to find out, it wasn't me. It was Keisha. They were in their feelings because Keisha said or did. Niggas ain't never come back and apologize. I'm sorry, Keisha. I got the wrong person. I didn't know it was you. And I never address how somebody tells me I made them feel. Especially if I have never had a personal conversation with you. How could I make you feel like anything? You know what I mean? Like if you just said to me just now, Shakita, you make me uncomfortable. You hurt my feelings when you be talking to me, and it makes me sad. You could probably say that because I've actually had a personal conversation, and not even personal. We've just talked and debated back and forth about things. So we've never actually had a personal conversation. I don't know you personally. You don't know me, but
Wait, this is a dude or a woman?
Child, it's a whole man.
All right.
So I can see you feeling like that, but somebody I've never even had a conversation with, or it was weird. It was really weird. So I think Quentin felt like, well, let me get Shakita. Let me see if she wants to come on and say, I don't care. I don't care if I make you feel bad when I don't know what to tell you. I can't read another person's mind. I just don't even understand the whole concept of that, of confronting somebody, how somebody makes you feel over some typed words. When we're having a conversation that's not personal, if we're talking about politics, this is how I said it. If two men are having a conversation, right? And y'all are debating, arguing about sports, basketball, whatever. Men argue, they yell back and forth, the whole nine. Nobody has to stop in mid basketball argument and say, "I don't like how you said that." When you talk nasty, to me,
They
right?
Do that. Yeah.
Well, I can't imagine. You hurt my feelings, but we're talking about basketball. What feelings is involved here? I don't understand that.
It's a lot of fights that start over how you said it. Like, I mean, y'all said it before, that, and first of all, I already know that I say passive aggressive stuff. You know what I'm saying? Or it may
but I'm
be.
not like Jeff. Why would you say that? Don't say that, Jeff. That hurt my feelings. You wouldn't let me get a fucking word out.
Yeah, he might have been being nice to you because he probably could have went off.
He shouldn't have, because I never said anything to him. So then he was talking to himself. Like that level of emotion, I don't understand.
Actually, I am the one who usually declines certain posts, and I have my reasons why I decline certain posts, because it's a lot of double posts that go on. Two people post the same thing, and as well as it just has to have certain content where it would help the page grow as well. I don't think it'd be discourse, and nobody gets censored. I mean, you can post whatever you want, long as it's not offending nobody. I don't really me personally, I don't, and this is my personal thing, and I never even discussed this with Shakita or Keisha on the page. I don't really want people to post anything about religion. And the reason why is because it will lead to a bunch of argument, because everybody's entitled to believe what they want to believe. Now, if I believe that a religious post can be a healthy discussion, I'm all for it. But I'm the one that usually does that. And that particular day, Keisha was here for all the smoke, and she was the one that actually did it. And that's why we kind of both all thought it was crazy because Shakira was being accused of something that she was like totally oblivious to. Like she didn't know what was going on. She really wasn't even in that particular thread. She was in a whole nother thread, and it was like, what are y'all talking about?
I just think that it's not. I don't think it's healthy to respond to everybody who gets emotional about stuff like that. I just don't think I just don't think it makes any sense. I think that people need to relax, maybe take a nap, think about it, or take a break, take a step back. Like if you come on Facebook and Instagram and you fighting and arguing all the time, maybe you need to take a break. Take a break and engulf yourself in the real world. I don't know, go for a walk, do something, but I don't think it makes sense to address all of this stuff. I just don't. I don't have no desire.
I mean, that's facts, but the reality is, you can consider us all in one big ass room with 30 people. People won't respond. You know what I'm saying? And then
I'm not going to respond to somebody being emotional about something. I'm not doing that.
And then but it's a lot of times you gonna respond to somebody not even being emotional. You just.
But that's different. I'm not talking about responding back and forth on the post. I'm not talking about talking to one another, engaging, conversing. I think all of that is healthy. I think when you post separately and say, I think the group is compromised. Somebody isn't allowing us to speak freely. I just kind of, nobody else. If there's 500 and something people in this group and maybe 50 people engage and you're the only person that feels that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's healthy to respond. I don't think it's healthy to respond to that because I think they should have handled that differently. Like everybody isn't going to like you. Everybody isn't going to want to be your friend. Everybody isn't going to speak to you sweetly and softly and kindly. Like this is the real world. Like, what do you do when you leave your house? Like,
I think when we talking about real life, you can really tell somebody's tone. But it's like Q said before, people be saying stuff online and you can't tell their tone. So a lot of stuff gets lost in translation.
Yeah.
Depending on how you feeling that day and what you got going on. And it just might be that tone, or it just might be passive aggressive. And black people don't want to hear that.
I understand that. But when you're having a conversation, again, when you're debating, or even plain and simple having an argument, and it's about politics, relationships, whatever that is not personal. You have to be able to say to yourself, this is not personal against me. This is not a personal attack against me. This is just a conversation. And when the subject changes, so does the mood. Right? So if we're talking about men and women and me and you just are hollering and going back and forth, you like, and this and other, we talking. When that conversation is over and we switch it up to something else, then we switch it. Ain't nobody sit like who
everybody can't do that.
And everybody who can't should not be addressed. You should not be addressing these people who act like that. Just let them sit and have their moment.
Keita, let me ask you a question because I asked Jeff this, and I basically said it was some sucker shit that Boris did, right? And I know you're going to disagree with me because, like I said, is that a lot of couples, what they'll do is they'll go online and they'll do that whole conversation was two friend couples on Instagram having a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And she said what she said about her marriage. And I believe she was telling the truth. And I believe his reaction was because his reaction at first was like, what'd you say? And then when his friend said something, his friend did do what we would consider like, you sucking and jiving for your relationship. You threw me under the bus. So then Boris came back and was like, you're right. So then I did read his response back a couple of days later. The reason why I say what he did was some sucker shit, because if it was organic, and we, like you said, we don't want to have phantom conversations, he wouldn't even have to come back and make an apology or sway public opinion on what's going on good or bad in his relationship. Like, why even say anything?
But because I feel like at that moment, this is why you have to be careful. This is why when you discuss anything publicly, you both have to be okay with what you're listening to. And and once, even if he wasn't particularly okay with it, but you would have to, if you wasn't going to discuss it right then and there and be truthful about how you felt, then you got to kind of hold back a little bit and discuss it offline. Because once he reacted the way that he reacted, and then the friend reacted, and now people were tagging him in posts, questioning him about it, asking him like, "Yo, what's going on here?" He had to then come in and not apologize, but defend his relationship and say, "We're good. We're all right." What she said, you took a snippet of this, blah, blah, blah. But he had to go online and say, "We're all right." And I think when you are discussing your relationship publicly, you have to be okay with what you're hearing. Like I've had discussions with people about my relationship without saying I'm in a relationship or I'm talking about him or a past, whatever. And the other person will always get offended, like, "Well, why are you telling our business?" Or "Why would you say that?" And a lot of times they take it out of context. You have to be able to speak freely, no matter who I'm talking to, whether I'm talking to him or if I'm on here or online. I should be able to speak freely about how I feel without it being offensive, if I'm not being offensive. You know what I mean? Everything, people say it's not what you say, it's how you say it, I guess, right? But overall, it's a matter of allowing the other person to tell their truth to some extent as well. What she said was true to her. And it didn't mean particularly that she hated her husband or she didn't like the dynamics of their relationship or anything of the sort. It was just the truth to her, and him listening to it that way, it was definitely organic. And I think that was his opportunity to just say, "Hey, what's up? What do you mean? What are you talking about?" They should have discussed it there instead of the whole back. And then, because everybody else is probably like, "Well, wow, that's how she feels. That's what she's thinking." She should have had the opportunity to explain that.
Yeah, I think. Hold on, Rel. I think one of the biggest words, like you said, is choose your words carefully. And I'm gonna just read a statement from of someone on YouTube. It said, "Women and men communicate different. They'll be agreeing, but since the understanding is different, they end up arguing and side eyeing." I personally think now. I think she could have been saying anything, but one of the key words that she said was, "I want to live the single life."
Single. Right.
And that, like literally, Shakita, like the brother's head popped up, like, because he had his head down and his head popped up, like.
But when I heard her say it, I knew
that water.
But when I heard her say it, I knew what she meant. I knew she didn't mean I want to be single without my husband. I want to. You get so stuck in a rut. My biggest fear, right, is being with somebody for you can 5, 10, 20 years, and literally all we do is wake up and sleep. We wake up, we sleep, we work, we come home, we eat, go back to bed, and it's the same routine. And I think when you're single, especially like her, she's been in a relationship with him for so long, but I don't think she meant single separate. I think she meant like their dating time when they weren't married, when he was still courting her and doing things with her and having fun with her, and they were having all of these experiences. And he clearly just heard, "I miss the single life," meaning without being by myself. I didn't hear any of that. And when he looked crazy, I thought to myself, wow, I would think he would know her better than that to think that that's what she meant. I would assume that he would have gotten that and said, "Yeah, I get what you mean. Like back when we were single but together, like dating."
We understand that, but at the same time, like, you gotta understand that men are really not. He's not allowed. What you said, speaking your truth, is the same thing Steph Curry and his wife do. All right, we understand at the end of the day what you're saying, but understand that men cannot speak their truth with and be allowed to speak on social media afterwards, because it would have been a rush of, well, why Boris talk to her like that? So, you know what I'm saying? Honestly, you could tell in his face that he wanted to say something in his mind, but he knew better then. So it didn't make sense having that conversation on an online. You know what I mean?
Right, but if he didn't understand what he meant then, what she meant, he could have said, "What do you mean single?" And she'd be like, "No, I mean like this," and he'd be like, "Oh."
I think he's trying to avoid that trouble.
Because they got on her, and they came for her just as well as I think they would have done the same to him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that you're right. Men would not. I don't think a man would go on and say it that way. I don't. But I also don't think that men see things like that either. Because there was a post in the group. I don't think maybe Quentin, Keisha's nephew posted it, and he was saying like, "What do you do when your relationship gets mundane? When it's just big?" And I literally was like, "Wow." Let's see what I was curious to see what men would say. And I find that a lot of times that when the relationships gets boring, and I'm saying this from men I know and women I know, men usually don't even see that the relationship is boring. They might see that the sex is boring, but they won't see that the relationship is boring. They're perfectly okay with like not traveling, not doing any, not creating any fun dates. You know, they don't role play. They're not going to put on a fucking wig and lingerie and role play for you. They're not going to, you know, do anything spontaneous and romantic. Like, you know what I mean? They're just, sex is boring, and a lot of times they have a hard time communicating that, so they cheat.
Yeah.
So you think that's,
on the other hand, when we feel like the relationship is boring, we have a whole list of shit that we'll do to make the relationship new again. You know what I mean? So I just don't think a man would put himself in a situation where he would have said anything at all. And here she is trying to, you know, it's difficult being on a public platform and trying to talk and express yourself and get somebody to understand you. But then you're sitting right next to your husband and you're trying to express yourself. I could only imagine her saying that and probably thinking, damn, I probably shouldn't have said it like that, you know? But at that point, it was too daggone late.
but like the brother just said on YouTube is that in the comment he said men are very routine. I mean, like you said, Shakita, you know, most men are just go to work, provide, do what we do, and it's not a matter of not listening. I think it's a matter of if most men would have heard her say that single thing, they would have been pissed.
Always.
I really believe that word kind of like bothered him. And Aaron did make a good post about the mundaneness, and I gave my suggestion. I mean, I don't think that I've ever been in that situation. I don't know. I just think that
you got to understand, like, because the first primary aspect of a man in a relationship is just to pretty much provide. So his primary concern is like, yo, do I have enough? Am I making enough money? And even if she's making enough money, that's his primary thing to get ahead of her.
But
all
you know,
that cute stuff is secondary.
But that's absolutely ridiculous, though, right? Because if your primary job is to provide, if I tell you that, if I tell you that, and I say, you know, I want a man that provides, I want that to be his primary focus, hell breaks loose. Like, oh, well, what about you? Where's your money? Where's your job?
Because it's a difference.
You got to make up your mind. You want to be like me, or you want me to be like you? You got to make up your mind.
But I don't think Keita, I don't think that, for lack of better words, I don't think it's your job to be telling the man.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that a man, it's innate.
No, I don't mean tell him in particular. No, wait. I'm sorry. I don't mean tell him in particular. Him. I'm talking about in this very conversation.
Yeah.
If we're here conversing and we're talking about relationships, and I say I think a man's primary job is to provide, it gets turned around as what do you do then? Well, why is that all he needs to bring to the table? What are you bringing to the table? Right?
It's how
you can't even have but I'm talking to y'all. So if you can't have I can't have a healthy relationship around that, because then I'm made into a villain because I feel that way. So here we are having a conversation about being, this poor woman is saying she wants her relationship to be more like when they were single, and everybody attacks her and probably is calling her ungrateful. And he's probably wishing that the sex was more like when they were single, but he wouldn't say that. He wouldn't open up his mouth and say it because he's uncomfortable. It's like you never can be honest or talk or have a real conversation, whether you're just friends or just like how we're doing here, or whether you're in a relationship, because there's too much offense given and too much taken all the time. There's never that regular conversation. I've come up across men, we're talking, and I say, yeah, I do. I want a man that's gonna provide for me. And then those men turn around and say he absolutely should. That's how we feel. That's what we think. That's the kind of relationship we have. But depending on the type of man I'm talking to, if I said that very same thing, he would turn me into a villain.
And gifts.
Like that's all I want.
It's the same thing like these arguments. It depends on your tone and how you saying it.
No.
You cannot be like, yo,
my tone.
Y'all should be doing what, or just like you said, you really can't be telling your man that he should be doing X, Y, Z.
I'm not talking to him. I'm not talking to him. I wouldn't date nobody who didn't think that.
Even if you had a conversation with me, and it's the same thing. It's just not. If you're under that man financially, like you make less than him, it's just like you have no right to be able to tell him what he should be paying for when he's paying for most of the stuff already. Or you have no right to be.
If he's paying for mostly everything, it wouldn't be nothing to talk about. I don't know what anybody would be discussing at that point.
Right, but people talk about that all the time. People talk about men paying stuff and they never paid for a date.
I don't think.
You know what I'm saying? And right, so you should never even have you know what I'm saying? You should never even say nothing about any financial nothing. Is, you know what I'm saying? It's like woman.
Men I date don't let me pay for dates. So I'm just
and most men won't.
I'm not from that life. Right. If I ever went somewhere with a man and he wanted to split the date, split the bill, I would do it because I need to leave the restaurant and go home. But I don't want to be with nobody that would do that. And occasionally, you know, I pay for a date here or there. You know what I mean? That's not a problem. But
so
I don't pay.
Let me ask you guys, Keita. I want you to answer first if you could, because me and Rel kind of discussed it, but I'm gonna ask him again. When we see unfortunately, in our community, our celebrities are kind of like the face of black relationship. Unfortunately, good, bad, or indifferent. How do you think a lot of situations should be handled? Like, you think that the couple, before they even put a camera in their face, and this is before they put a camera in their face, they should discuss how they're gonna say it, or just like you want them to be organic, but it's like you don't want to throw your mate under the bus on camera and make them feel uncomfortable. What do you think we should do? Because you never know. We may be in a conversation. We may do a couple show one day or whatever. And it may be like couples. What would you think? How do you think couples should handle online stuff?
I think you should definitely go over the basic questions. You know, let them know what questions you're going to ask. I mean, nobody goes online. Nobody goes on television or anywhere else without knowing what the questions are going to be. You can't control the direction of the questions, or the direction of the conversation, or what other questions come out of the other. But you could definitely go over the questions with them. I mean, what more can you do? If something is being said that the other person doesn't like, or you think that it's going to be a touchy subject, and you know you can't trust your mate, then you have to be very careful. I mean, I've been in environments where I've been at a dinner party and we all supposed to be hanging out and it's a bunch of couples. And we get to talking about relationships, and somebody go home and they fight and arguing for 3-4 days. Everybody's mate isn't as comfortable with you expressing yourself or telling things that they think have to do with them. You know, even though they're in that environment and they're like, oh yeah, we're the cool couple. We can talk about anything. You know, I don't think that that's always the case. And you can't, from time to time, you can't, you can't tell the future. You could just be on a show talking about something and you'd be like, I wish sex was a little bit more spontaneous. You would think there was nothing wrong with that, right? You're telling your other partner that that's what you would like. And that person could be looking at you like, this is what? Spontaneous? I'm not spontaneous? And go to hell off. So you gotta know what you're dealing with and who you're dealing with.
Yeah, I think that. Rel, go ahead before I even say anything.
Just to me, I think it. I mean, everybody pre, that was born pre '90s should know. Like you basically got to carry yourself.
Pre
Yeah,
nineties.
yeah. I mean, yeah, because they don't care nowadays. Everything is public. Everything is out there. But like, I think everybody should know you got to carry yourself like you carrying your significant other on your back. So you should already be moving. Like before you say something, you should check yourself. Hold up, this might sound kind of open doorish. You know what I'm saying? Regardless if it's an open, just an open forum to be talking, you should already be mindful what to say. Like you wouldn't say that in a room full of people because they would know it's something wrong with y'all fundamentally. So like, I just think that you shouldn't have to discuss it beforehand because it should already be within that person's mind, man or woman. Like you can't be saying that because you got 1,000 people here, 1,000 people listening. Regardless if you're going to do something or not, you don't want to sound or make your situation sound weaker than what it is. You know what I'm saying? Because all open doors, man. Listen, people will walk through them. You know what I'm saying? And I know people say that, a man is as faithful as his options or whatever. But trust me, same thing. Same thing with a woman. If people feel like there's weakness there, they coming, they coming. So,
Well, like I said before, one of the great things I like about them
what up, Brad?
them two's relationship is that Nicole and Boris, because they're both actors and actress, they have a beautiful boundary. Like I said, with the kissing thing, for people that do like to put their tongue in people's mouth, I think them not allowing that stuff, I think that's a good thing for an actress. I mean, and I do think that, like I said about you two guys, as well as anybody that ever comes on the show, I believe when you're online, you have an obligation to be very authentic. And part of being authentic is being vulnerable. And I really, like I always tell y'all, I really appreciate y'all coming on the show because it opens up vulnerability. So they have shown a sense of vulnerability by allowing their personal life to be organic. And it's like, if they never did it before, now they probably like, see, that's why I don't like doing this type of stuff on Instagram because now it's like, because now you got a bunch of people, and everybody wants to be a relationship counselor when, for a lack of better words, their marriage is quote unquote working or doing okay. So this is something I think we need to always consider when we allow our public life and our private life to clash. That sometimes it's not always good to put your personal business online because it could create a bunch of issues. You could be, for a lack of better words, you could be a guy who's very complimentary of women, and your mate could take that the wrong way. That's just who you are. Your mate could take the wrong way. And vice versa. You could be a woman who loves to how we say, who loves to be real supportive of men, and her mate can take that the wrong way. So it's very important that we are mindful of this, and for those that are in relationships. I really appreciate you coming on, Shakita. The show definitely went a different direction.
I missed a good part of the time. I missed a good part of the top. I missed a good part of the conversation. I ain't have to talk about nobody soft. I don't like soft talk. I can't handle that. We could have skipped all of that, but I came, I saw it, I conquered.
She conquered, Rel.
She busting shots.
No, like I told you, I have I know last week was a little crazy in the group, but like it wasn't crazy. It was really just people catching tantrums. So
And I kept telling you to ignore them people. Just ignore them people. Just ignore them. Fuck them. Sensitive, childish.
Rel, do you have something you would like to close out? Shakita, you were called a boss in the comments too.
Yeah.
Who said that?
Brad called you a boss.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they hyping her up in the comments. What up, Brad? Man.
Please
Nah,
give Jeff some
I
attention.
I don't need no attention. But no, I mean, I ain't got no closing words really. Just that I
Shakita,
realized.
Jeff, let me finish before I just Shakita. A lot of men like to call you an alpha female,
Mhm.
and you've been called an alpha female, and I know how you feel about that word. I think it's a compliment. I don't think you should
I
take it
mean,
as
it's totally a compliment. I wasn't the one who actually had a problem with the word. A young lady in the comments had defended. Defended me, and she felt
Mhm.
like that the word was inappropriate. I definitely do not like labels, and I don't want to be labeled as nothing. And I only say that because you don't like people don't know me. Like, you know what I mean? When I'm talking about something and I get passionate about it, that's something completely different. But I barely talk. Like, I'm super quiet. I speak when I'm spoken to. I don't need to be the center of attention. I don't need, I'm not galloping around, kicking men in the ass when they walk by, pushing them into the ground. I'm not doing all of that. None of that's happening. I'm pretty much really, really soft. And I think and that's why I think a lot of times, like when people be trying to call me out, I think it's because they kind of see me around and they see how quiet I am. And they're calling me out to get me to get all stirred up. You know what I mean? I think they want to see me go off because it could be funny. I'm not a
well.
clown. I'm not here
Well,
to
I
perform.
well I
You
well I will
guys.
say, well I will say this before we allow Rel to begin to start to close out of the show. Your online persona, I don't know where it came from, but it is totally not you. If they knew what I knew, it's like
I mean, I'm quiet, I'm pleasant and stuff, but I'm also a Scorpio, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm also very independent. So and this is why for 90% of the times I'm sweet as pie because I get a different kind of mad. It's different. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna speak to you intelligently and be nice to you. When I come for you, I make you cry. So it's different.
Brad, would you like me to answer that question?
It's different.
What do
So
you?
I try not to get that
He,
upset. When I'm
I,
that mad,
I think he wants me to ask you this question, Shakita. Are
all
you allowing yourself to be vulnerable?
the time. I'm a mother. I'm vulnerable. I'm a daughter. I'm vulnerable. I have a father. I'm vulnerable.
They don't mean that.
Vulnerable where? Online? Why? When we are talking about politics, when Jeff is getting on my nerves, when we are talking about Madam CJ Walker movie, more vulnerable about what? What am I gonna be vulnerable about? Who am I dating on here that I need to be vulnerable with? I'm vulnerable with my man. I don't have to just be randomly vulnerable for no reason. For
Look,
what?
she bucking off.
Rel,
Yeah.
Rel,
When I get see what I'm saying, I try not to, 90% of the time I'm on about a 3. I get it about at a 7. It's a
No,
problem. I stay at 3 all the time.
but all right. So closing off a little bit. So what I realized, I always take something from these little conversations that I really be on other people's show. I really don't sit here and take stuff away. But tonality and just how you say things in text online get shit really confused. Even like Shakita said, if we sit here talking on this live, she a totally different person than when she in them damn comments. When she in the damn comments, she be wanting the sauce. But I know she is a cool person, she's a nice person. And it's probably the same for everybody. Um Now, some of those live shows where people making mistakes and they saying they being truthful to themselves, I think we should take it as it is. People try to fix things later, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And I think just like Shakita said, people probably need to be mindful of just going back and forth because you really can't tell how people meant what when you're just looking at it through text. So that's it. Just be mindful.
Shakita, do you have anything you want to say before we close out?
It's difficult to come onto a public platform and discuss anything that is personal, right? So I empathize with her and her husband, but I will like to go back to listen to the whole conversation. I'm sure it would probably be interesting. I would like to go back and listen to the whole thing, but they have to be mindful. And I think them as a couple, people consider them goals because they seem to get along so well and they've been together so long and they seem to be so in love. But in reality, we all have to be mindful that, everything isn't perfect, and every relationship isn't perfect. And being online and discussing your business isn't easy. And I'm sure he right now is probably like, I wish I never, these people get on my nerves. And he probably wishes that he, never did it or didn't say it or she did too. So it's difficult. And then as far as anybody else, I'm not, I don't, if you don't like my personality or you don't like me, you can skip over, things that people particularly say on a post, right? If Jeff made a post and I commented, it's somebody, because men do it all the time. Because normally a lot of times if somebody comments on something and I'll say something and then they'll immediately want to come and challenge me. And I'm here for the challenge. So we'll go back and forth a little bit. And they don't like it. It's like, oh, well, I didn't mean to offend you. I'm not offended. I'm giving you the energy you gave me. I'm giving you exactly what you were looking for. So, there are certain people that you can go back and forth with, and it'll probably be foreplay. It'll probably be you flirting or whatever the case may be. When you go back and forth with me, if it's a debate, you're going to get one. Now, if that's not what you're looking for, skip my comment and go talk to somebody else. It's not the end of the world. And that's with anybody. The arguing back and forth with women and men. I even have women that get smart with me all the time. When and I'm thinking to myself, I wasn't even talking to her. I'm literally commenting on a post. And she'll come to get smart with me because she wants to. And then I'll get smart with her back. And then she knows she need to go on and leave me alone. Everybody has their moments, and I don't know why people just can't go in and talk, because I don't jump on people's posts to get smart with them either. So it's weird. I don't know. But everybody isn't the same. Some people take the fun. Some people will suck the life out of a wet dream, and they'll ruin a whole entire post. You're trying to talk about music, and they'll come on and say something ignorant. So you got to I just say don't address them and just ignore them.
Well, you've heard from our great distinguished co-host. I really don't have much to say. Like I said, we decided to discuss the topic because it's always interesting when you could discuss posts and how they're perceived or not perceived or whatever. And we went into the Boris Nicole Parker thing. And it's interesting how, like I said, the public will perceive something and we could totally be wrong or we could totally be right. It's always up to our interpretation. But at the end of the day, that is their affair. And we're just here to talk about it and maybe discuss how we may or may not handle being in certain situations.
Yeah, trying to learn something,
I appreciate everybody that joined the show this afternoon. We'll try to have a show on Friday and Saturday night. We got a show tomorrow where Drea is going to discuss the numerology of the area code 07088. I know that a lot of people aren't into numerology, but it's some very interesting things that's going on with the COVID, and a lot of people might be like, it's affecting black areas. They're targeting black people. It's 5G. It's a government thing. I personally believe that we're all over the place, and you have a right to believe in whatever you believe. But she's going to discuss, because the area code that I used to live in, we are suffering some tragedies, and I think that the numbers will tell some stories, because a lot of times we don't know our past. And one of our members of the group, KK, said K Brown said the other day, do you believe in generational curses? And that's something that needs to be discussed, hopefully, going in the future. So with that, everybody have a blessed afternoon. Stay safe. Stay in the house after the curfew. Don't go out unless you necessarily have to go out, because at the end of the day, you never know. Dad, have a good week.